Hello, good morning and or evening, X or afternoon. Hope everyone's having a good Wednesday. Exciting midweek stream. Should some people to roll in. So we've got the what we're going to do today. We've got the lighting seems a bit dark. I like the colours are a bit wrong. Let's try it. Anyway, so what were we doing last week? Because that's kind of important to understand, so we can get on with this week. We're trying to integrate the physics engine with the assets that we've already got. We've got some barrels, and we want to attach physics object to that, so we can kind of roll them around and move them around. And unfortunately, the point we got to last stream was we realized that the model file that I was using was actually a whole bunch of assets within it, and they were all offsetted from the origin. So where the physics system kind of considered 0, 0 in local space was very much different to where the model itself considered 0, 0, 0 in model space. So everything was kind of weirdly offset, which was a massive pain. So then we went through and I faffed around in Maya for a bit, trying to move pivots and freeze transforms and all the other Maya words that I was kind of figuring out on the spot. And then we produced a new asset with just a single barrel in the origin, roughly where we wanted it, and then the game crashed. We're trying to load this new asset file, and that's about as far as we got. But yes, I'm feeling better today, thank you very much. Hopefully clearer mind, ready to tackle an interesting problem. How far are we down the to-do? Unfortunately no further really than we were last stream, because we got stumped by this thing. But Julian, Moose, Emery, glad you're here. Some of the regulars rolling in. So yeah, let's let a few people roll in, because it's going to be kind of interesting to go over what happened last time. Where's my setup? So it's kind of interesting, right? I think at the end of last stream, I kind of wrapped it up a bit and said, we'll tackle this next time. And I went and I finished the stream, I sat down, had a glass of wine, and then I immediately realised what the problem was. Or at least I think I immediately realised what the problem was. And I very much was tempted to get up and go investigate then, but I was still not feeling great. And I had a glass of wine to finish, obviously. So I kind of let it mellow in my mind overnight, and then when I woke up in the morning, I was even more convinced I know what the problem is. But I've resisted the urge to look at it, because I thought it'd be fun to try and do it live. Because one, if I'm right, it's going to be pretty fun and pretty interesting. And if I'm wrong, I've literally no idea what we're going to do, and we'll have to start again from scratch. So I've kind of fortune favours the brave, and I really hope this is indeed the issue. Start the stream with a fresh build. So unfortunately, we're kind of halfway through a weird build anyway at this point. I've committed up all the things that make sense from last stream, but left kind of some things in this weird state, because there's a load of print statements in there. If you remember, for anyone who's here on Sunday, we had some issues where the debugger was attached to it, so it held a file handle to the executable, so the build wouldn't overwrite it, but it wasn't failing, which was very strange, and we all got very confused. And generally, I don't know if any of us could truly say we were having a great time at the end. But I think the interesting thing about the bug, as I think it is I genuinely think I actually had it up on screen and made a comment about it, and I didn't go back and watch the previous stream, but I might do later. I'm pretty sure I was like, there's that, and then I ignored it, when really I should have paid attention to it, because that would have made a lot of sense. So let's just switch over to the code. Well, so I've got the debugger set up here. So the game crashes. So let's just see if I'm right. So I'm going to start the game. I'm going to step through the breakpoints. We're going to keep going to the crash. Keep going. Okay. Here we are. Is it this one? So we are in SIMD instructions, and SIMD instructions expect you to work on 16-byte align addresses. And I have a horrible feeling that where we've packed a TLV into a file and then memory mapped that into a page and then use spans into that memory map region, we are not 16-byte. We cannot guarantee the alignment of that data. It's literally whatever offset it is from the start of the file. And then in the code, where we do, what is it? Buffer, where we do this, I reckon internally, somewhere in here, it's going to do a mem copy which has been vectorized, and that is reading from this, which is unaligned. And I think that's the case because movops is indeed a movops, sorry, movops and movops are SIMD instructions. I believe movops doesn't require alignment, but movops does. So I'm thinking, at least I know it's writing into RCX here, but I mean that might be 16-byte aligned. Let me just try again. But I'm pretty sure that's the reason. At the very least, this could be a reason we might have to fix it in the future. Yeah, but like, so this one's here. So the question is, like, spans aren't the issue. If the memory map is aligned, it will be fine. But like, bear in mind, this span is somewhere into, like, the page will always be page aligned, right? But if I start reading from some like 5 bytes into that, then won't that read address, which would be the span into that, be misaligned? So I mean this is my theory. This is the only thing I can think of. Look, here we go. This is here. Vermoveduk, right? RDX plus C0, right? Let's copy that. Calculator, hex, and then what was the plus C0? Right. This is not aligned, right? So I think there's an easy way to test this, right? Is we can take a local copy of the data here, which I think will, like, the stack will be aligned correctly, so that should work. And if this works, then that's the case. But like I'm saying, there's no guarantee that this pointer here, right? Do I not have this pointer here, right? Which is an offset into a memory mapped file. There's no guarantees about the alignment of that. So if we just do const auto data equals stood, actually I think I can just do data to stood vector, stood ranges to stood vector stood byte. And then just do, oh, I've got too many datas again. Data. Yeah, use map viewer file, which again, like, that will, as far as I'm aware, that will put probably on a page round trip, right? So probably some multiple of 4096. But again, like, if I'm doing a SIMD instruction from some offset into that data, that offset might itself not be 16-byte aligned. Yes, this will be, well, so this is a vector of bytes, right? So the size of bytes is indeed the size of bytes. Yes, so I think the solution will be to go today, if this is right, is to go through and modify the TLV stuff so that anything that can be pulled out as a span is correctly aligned for SIMD instructions. That's kind of my plan. Let's stop. Let's make sure the debug stopped. But anyway, that's my plan. But I want to see if it's right first, because this was the thought I had, and this has been rattling around my brain for a bit, and I really want to kind of just get this out and see if this works. Okay, so maybe not that issue, because it looks like it is still crashing, although if that's not the case, then the issue is definitely a malformed data. But I still can't see how it's we're definitely crashing in here, right? With the mov instruction access here. So do you think that this is dying because of the same alignment issue? Do you think it's going to use SIMD instructions to copy it over? So I've been loading the same mesh, and I'm worried that I've just been lucky that it's been aligned. No, malformed data will, SIMD instructions will raise, well, not raise an exception, they will trap, they will effectively segfault if you'll get a fault, you'll get a fault if they are loading loading an address that is not 16-byte aligned. Oh, sorry, but malformed data, yes, correct, would not crash though. So this is why I don't think it's the quality of the data. I think it might be the shape that the data is in, so to speak. Let's just see what's happening with this in the debugger now. See if I'm still getting the same issue. I think it is I think it could. I think it could be an access violation, but I could be wrong. But I've definitely seen something like this before, where I've tried to do something with this, and so look, I'm still crashing here, which is interesting. Look, right, yeah, look, it's the same. I'm pretty sure. Can I embiggen this so you guys can see it a bit better? Look, it's now getting in. I'm now crashing with the same data in the copy mem move, and I suspect this is what is doing these SIMD instructions at memcopy.asm. So I'm reasonably convinced this is the issue. I don't know if I can turn off SIMD because isn't this in memcopy, and I'm not sure. What I think I can do is auto star that's so infrequent I have to use new. Auto equals temp or auto I equals 0u, I is less than data.size plus I actually know what am I doing? I don't need cursor, do I? Temp I equals data I. And that should obviously be a byte. And now I should be able to do temp, data.size and oh, interesting. So actually, the issue might not be this. The issue might be that what we're saying that the data no longer exists. Like the source data is bad. I don't think the TLV's gone out of scope though, so that data should be there, and I don't think the file has gone out of scope. So, as in, it shouldn't have been unmapped. Okay, well let's just see because I'm doing a debug build with no optimizations on. This shouldn't get vectorized, so let's just see if this works. If not, we'll explore the other avenue. Maybe the data's not there. I could. How do I? Oh, hang on a minute. No, this isn't going to work for me because this is running. Yes, we could look at running Need to have a look at if there's a rune for that. Interesting. So that still does die. I think it's this target link. I want target link options game lib public. I think I want this, right? That is what Google says I need to enable ASAN in MSVC. I did not just pull that out of my... Can't see it with the face cam. Oh, sorry. I normally move my face cam across. Infer ASAN libs. See what happens. I should probably need to reconfigure the whole thing anyway. I might want to do a rebuild. As the ASAN. The best. Interesting. Okay, apparently I don't have the correct library installed. I just wonder if this is a symptom of my terrible build system. Needless to say, we have other things to try first. fsanitize equals address. Is that a linker flag or is that a compiler? Oh, God, well done. fsanitize equals address. Maybe I got the wrong end of the Google there. You're right. It should be probably is a compiler one, right? Because it's going to have to instrument the code. Compile options. This is fun, exciting. I thought, right, we're done with this and we're on to writing a quaternion class, but no, alas, my fever dream solution to the problem was not what we wanted. OpenGL 4.6. Oh, sorry, you're a different question. I see. Unrecognized option fsanitize address is ignored in the so now it doesn't like it as a linker flag, which I guess makes sense, although I don't know why I didn't complain about that before. Okay, right, got a good feeling about this. Unless the file, oh, Jesus, maybe I want this as private, right? I don't want to necessarily force that down to everyone. I never met him personally, but I'm aware he is doing Vulkan. Oh, what is... something MSVC wine. Maybe I need to pull this into VS Code and give it another go. I think for now I've gotten. Hang on. Right. I think there's an easy way to test this. Okay, fine. So let's go back here. Let's reload this, and then symbols, game, and then we've got game buffer right. Stick a breakpoint there. This is where I am. What's that? Nope, you go. Okay, right. So I'm hoping I've got some source. Right. So what we should be able to do is inspect the arguments. So it's RCX will be this pointer. RDX, is it RDX is then the span, right? Is it I asked this last time and I now can't remember. The Win32x64 calling convention. I think it's is it RCX RDX? I should know this, but I've been spending a lot of time looking at 32-bit games, so it's kind of gone out my brain. Yeah, RDX is the pointer to span. I thought so. Yes. Okay. So RDX is the pointer to the span. So let's follow that in the dump. So this should contain a pointer and a size. So let's look at this in the memory map. So that is what, O2. So follow this in the following keyword in dump2. It has got data in it, and I can see the mesh name in there. So this pointer must exist, right? Like, I'm not going mad, right? That's the logic there is we've got in the first argument, which is oh goodness, what is this? Go away. Which is the span to the data. A span is nothing but a pointer and a size somewhere in here. And then we've looked at, so this is the size, right? So we then looked at the pointer, and if we follow this in the dump, follow in dump2, this is our data, right? Because just prior to this, we should have the name and then the other TLB stuff. What do you mean by stale data? Because I think like stale data shouldn't affect this. Like it should just upload garbage, right? Like it would, if the data was wrong, then it would crash when the game actually came to render something, because that data wouldn't make any sense potentially, or just render garbage. The actual copying of the data, regardless of what the data is, right, whether it's good data or bad data, shouldn't crash the copy to the GPU, and that's the fundamental problem. So let's just. This is fun. Okay, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing this evening. Everyone, buckle up. We see where. Oh, can we see where the file is mapped? Yes. I think. Does it give you the info in here? So it's resource here, so it's mapped into here, right? This is I believe this is the mapping, so it's valid and it is read-writable. and there's quite a lot of bytes in it. I guess the only thing is it reading off the end of this? We've got a log somewhere, right? It's going to read, Christ, it's going to read this many bytes. Is that what the log says? We've got this, we've reserved this much space on the GPU, and this is the number of bytes we're going to write. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we're well within this mapped region, which is marked read writable. So I feel like it's unlikely. Yeah, I'd expect the address of the map to be aligned because I'm pretty sure it's going to load it in on a page boundary. So I'd expect the last the three decimal digits to be zeros. I don't know, maybe I'm going mad, but I'm almost convinced that the data is not the problem. It's the shape. It's either the shape or the position of the data, right? So let's just. Yeah, we crap. What happened there? So we do whatever that first call is. So this is the print, which is going to be pretty gross because the printing stuff's normally a whole load of assembly. So we're up to line 26. This is the ensure, so this is all tickety-boo. Keep going down. So I know you guys can see it, but now I can't. Go past buffer too small, that's fine. We're up to 28. Does it go off the end? See, I don't think it does because I just checked that the size of the span is less than the size of the mapped region. But something offset. I see what you mean. That is a good point. I guess we didn't check that. So we don't know. I'm trying to get my head around like what the best way of checking this is, because the question is what am I trying to check? I want to check that we're not going off the end of the mapped in region, right? Yeah, the problem is that like the mapped address plus the size of region minus the size of the span all sounds good. I don't actually have any of that information here at this point. So I might have to do this in parts and just ascertain it. So we get the size of the file. Bear in mind that when you map view a file, you don't inherently get the size, right? Like nothing here will tell you the size of the mapped region. I think you don't have to get file size unless get file sizes wrong here. Yeah, I think we're going to have to do this in parts. Hang on. Ooh. Hang on a second. Okay, no. I do want to get file size. Okay. But if you're mapping the... So the question, like the point is like get file size might be getting the size of the file on disk and not the size of the mapped region. But like, if this maps anything less than the size of the file on disk and returns success, I'd argue that is not great. Lots of things to check. I think what we can do here is we can do, let's do let's do, what's it, map view and then size. So we can get out those bits of data at the point where we map the file, and then here we'll get the size, and then we'll also get const void star data, and that should give us all the information we need to then check, right? Because we'll get the size of the data we've reserved for the buffer, we'll get the size of the data we're going to copy, we'll get the offset, and then we'll get the address of the buffer itself. And I think between that we can kind of put the pieces together. I mean, get file size is a Win32 function, so I'm hoping that's not wrong. Yeah, sorry, Ferdinand, I didn't understand your point. Check the align of some arbitrary access into the data. Oh, you mean using align of? I thought I read that as check the alignment of or something. So you're saying something like line of what? Something like that? But line of only works on an expression. I've got too many of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're right. I don't. Which one don't I want? I don't. I want size, data. I actually want offset there, and then I want that, and then that. Yeah, it appears to dislike it because line of you have to give it a type, whereas here is saying to do it on an expression as a GNU extension. So I think that might not work for us. We'll see what MSVC thinks. Lots of good suggestions coming in. I'm not ignoring you. I am very keen that when trying to debug stuff, like do one thing at a time. Because if I just do all the great suggestions everyone's sending me, I'll either get confused or I won't know what sticks. So oh, and if I still got the, I have go away. Let's try debugger, not today. Whoa. Okay, what have I done? Wrong. Pass is not a member formatter, blah, 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 blah. It definitely doesn't like... Definitely doesn't like this. What about... What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's just stick with that to start with. Yeah, we could do that as well. I Although actually we can tell if it's 16-byte aligned because the address won't have a 0. Sorry, it'll be 16-byte aligned if the last decimal digit is a 0, right? It's the NX. What have I... The NX. Am I being stupid? What have I missed? The last hexadecimal digit. Oh, I see. I thought that would give it to me as hex, though, right? Yeah, but sorry, the last decimal. Sorry, I misspoke. The last digit of the hex string. Yes, not decimal. Apologies, I misspoke. Why am I being stupid? Like, I really feel like this is not an issue. Static cast data to avoid pointer. My bracket's not. It won't need game log because I'm in the game namespace. Right. Is it just hash x? Am I hallucinating? Oh, hang on. What am I? Oh, wait a minute. Can I? Won't it? I think I'm being stupid. I've been stupid. I think because it's a pointer, a void pointer, it will just print out as hex anyway. I think I'm just being stupid. No, never miss printf. God damn it. I mean, the error could be a little bit easier to pass, right? It's in here somewhere. What am I missing? I saw all the types somewhere. Here you go. Char, const, unit32 ref, int64, size t ref, const void star. Right? Is it going to tell me which of those it doesn't like? Pass is not a member of store firmware. I think the fact that I forgot to save it is really neither here nor there, and I don't want to talk about it again. God damn it. Where is the actual... Oh, I know why. I just saw unique pointer. I know exactly why that is. If I go back to file, unique pointer is in a pointer, and unique pointer doesn't have a formatter. So actually what it needs to be is here dot get. And I might need to do the static cast again. Right. Someone said colon format is P. Does that just work for a pointer? Yeah, well, I guess because std format was added in 20 and unique pointer was added in 11, and normally to get things in, they tend to just go for like a random subset of the features and add them later. So anyway, we're here. Okay. So we got... So it's definitely mapped into like a page boundary, and it's got that many bytes, and it's reading this offset, right? I had this last time, I couldn't copy and paste. It's really quite upsetting me. Okay, 166130F minus this hot mess is this many bytes in. So yeah, I think... Oh no, so this is right at the end, right near the end of the size. So there's about 20,000 hex bytes left, right? Do double check my thing as I'm going along. Well, it will be quite massive because there are 8 uncompressed. There's 11 uncompressed textures in there. You've got the normal map, the specular map, the albedo map, and then 8 cube map faces, all uncompressed. So I would expect it to be pretty big. Yeah, so the whole thing is 265 meg. No, they're 4K textures, but they're not compressed. I think they are all just stored as RGB triplets. To add compression is on my to-do list. It wasn't pertinent at the time. So anyway, so do we think it's running off the end then? I think you might be right. I think this is running off the end, right? Because let's take a step back. This is the address. This is the address our data is at. This is the address the file is mapped to. The distance between those two is this. So there's this many bytes. We are this many bytes into the buffer, right? Okay. And there is this many bytes in total. Which implies that the difference between these two is how many bytes are left. So is that 22,000 ox bytes? Right? This minus this is how far into the buffer I am. So therefore, this minus this must be the remaining bytes afterwards. So 22,000. Well, this here is the size of the thing, and this is way bigger than 22,000. Why even guess, right? Why even guess? Let's just... Right, so this... I got enough brackets there. So this will be the one past the address, 1 byte past the thing we're going to write. Okay, hey, you see, so if this address here is bigger than again. You get plus size. Where have I gone wrong? Oh my goodness, right, nope, that's why. Static cast, turn that to a byte and yeah, it should be right. This is one of the last things we write. It should be right at the end. Sorry, I'm having a bit of a... I don't know why this is quite sad. That goes there, that goes there. If I just go... Right, there we go. Okay. So this should give us the start address of the buffer and the end address of the... Start address of the file and the end address of the file, and then it should give us the start address of the buffer and the end address of the buffer, and from that, I believe we can see where it's all needed. God damn it, what have I done wrong now? I promise I'm doing char star. I don't want to print ln to try and interpret it as a string, which I'm worried it would do. I guess I could do colon p. But here we are. Okay. So I want this number to be bigger than this number, which it's not. (194F, 194F9). Okay, fine. So somehow our right. No, the physics issue was not to do with the mesh origin. That surfaced another issue we have where somehow our TLV is we're trying to write data off the end of one of our spans, which points into the TLV. So something somewhere, something's not going right. And we've just found that this is the end address of the mapped file, and this is the end address of the span, and this one is bigger than this one, which suggests somewhere we are. Is the source of this going? No, that is on my to-do list. I do plan on releasing some of this at some point. It's just not, one, it's not in a state where I actually kind of want anyone to look at it because it's a little bit messy, and two, actually, to be honest, that's the main reason. And two, it's just not featured enough yet. I want to put more stuff and then tidy it up, and then I'll release it. Right. Okay. Let's have a look at the TL. I mean, I can only assume it's the TLV writer. There's two things I can think of the issue here. One, the TLV writer is wrong. Two, the program that drives the TLV writer to produce the file is crashing at the end, or maybe not finishing flushing all the bytes, or is not finishing writing the file, because it does wait for a long time because it's doing some miserable WSL stuff. Let's check that second one first, because that and other English sentences. Oh, wait, it does actually say writing resource bytes, resource data size. So let's just run this again and just check that that is right. So whilst that is running, see these are all massive textures. Let's just start having a look through the TLV writer code just to see if we can see any inconsistency. Shared online resource that said, "Help me good at GDB. Do you mind sharing it again?" Yeah, sure. Let me get that up. If it's still there. Yeah. Tell Blara I said hi. Okay. Yeah, no worries. Okay, so we got the type. Pretty sure that's correct. We got the length, which is the number of vertex data objects we want to write, this being position, normal, tangent, and UV, times the size of vertex data. That could be size bytes. I do realize that. That is just that's a nitpick on my code review. I should go and change, but I don't want to change any of this now in case there's another problem. And then the value in bytes is the start of the data. Isn't it like an as bytes? Yeah, if you're going to go and play IO, don't look at the tags files for any like the first 10 levels, which everyone does and then puts their like miserable JavaScript in it. As bytes, yeah, okay, fine. So maybe this should probably be bytes. This could do a little love. But anyway, and then the length there. And it writes the entry, right? And this is 10, this takes a buffer to write into, a span of bytes. It write bytes. Yeah, some of this could be tidied up with as bytes. Then it write bytes the value, and then this just inserts into the end the range of data. I can't see how that can particularly go wrong. It certainly wrote all the bytes it said it was going to write. How is the index? Oh, are you suggesting it might be the index data, not the actual vertex data? Oh, this isn't the whole story. Actually, sorry, because we actually have a aggregate. What do I call them? Aggregate types. The aggregate types. What do I call them? Compound types. Which build upon those other primitives to make bigger, more complex types, including textures and models. So this writes the name of the model, the vertices, and then the indices. So this writes the name, the vertices, and the indices, builds that into a separate TLV, and writes that into the mesh data, into buffer, and that goes type length value. Yes, because I wanted when you have several types together, I wanted you to basically just be able to reuse TLV and TLV writer to kind of pull out those aggregate types. I'm trying a better word of using to describe it, but the word escapes me at the moment. Because we can do the same thing here, and then it makes the reading super easy because you just check that you've got the right header, the right type, and then the length, and you can just construct a sub TLV, and you can basically keep constructing sub TLVs for these compound types as much as you needed. Yeah, compound types must be out. I'm sure. Anyway, so let's. So the reader. Nope. For mesh data, we check we got the mesh data. We construct a reader around the value, which will be the TLV itself. And we know this kind of compound stuff works because we do it for the texture data, and that seemed to work fine. Where's the texture one? Yeah. And then none of this fails, right? So it knows that the first member is a string and it ensures it and skips past it. Then it goes, oh, do you have vertex data? Is that okay, fine. Then I'll read those out and I'll get the... Unless there's a copy going on in here, but no, because we checked that that pointer does point into the file buffer. Yield returns the... It yields out the written to buffer with all the TLV entries and makes sure that the writer is then reset to a new buffer. So if you write again, you start again. It literally yields out the finished buffer. And then none of this fails, right? So like it checks all the types. It's all happy with this. Again, like, you know, the first member is a string, the second member is a vertex, right? It checks that the text. It checks that at the end of it, you have consumed all the data in the TLV, right? So it's not. We even check that, you know, there's not some extra data hanging off the end. And this just returns spans into this data. Is that wrong? No, because TLV reader itself takes a span. I was about to say, we're technically returning spans into the reader, but the reader itself... Everything, I think by design, almost nothing copies data, and it's all just spans upon spans upon spans, all the way back to wherever holds the original data by design. There's no length check in here. No, because you don't know, you cannot know a priori what the length's going to be, or you can, right? At the moment, I'm making a mess. Because can you so when you dereference it, it does check that the size, there is enough data for your data before it starts mem copying it out. I think this is going to be a 2-hour stream of just fixing this one bug. I think that's where it's going to go. So I hope that's what everyone signed up for today, because that sure is what you're getting. Yeah, so this doesn't make... Okay. What is the problem? The problem is we are reading past the allocated data. We have successfully written all the data we said we're going to write. C++ iterators do not crash if they go past the end. Your debug build, MSVC debug STL or the GNU debug STL might, but it's not required. It's not part of the spec 2. It's just straight up undefined behavior. Sorry, someone wanted to see the writers again. Sure. I'm inclined to think the issue is around writing, because that's the thing that you are producing that is wrong, if that makes sense. Maybe we should go back and write some more tests. I don't think we have tests that cover all this. I'm just trying to think, like, so in situations like this, I'm just trying to think what gets us to what gives us progress towards understanding what the actual underlying issue is. Like, what do we know? And we know that we've produced a TLV, a binary blob. We have written that many bytes to the disk, to the resource. When we read it in, it seems absolutely fine churning through the first few, but then it gets to 1, and then which is a large one, which happens to be mesh data, and then the span in that, which represents the mesh data, is pointing outside of the whole buffer. What's interesting, I think, is that I think we need to work out whether we're crashing on the vertices or the indices, right? So somewhere in mesh, which one of these two is it crashing on? Because if it's crashing on vertices, then something has gone horrifically wrong, because the vertices has blown over the indices data, right? Let's just figure out which one of these is at fault first, and then... Okay, so mesh line 25. So I think it's the indices, right? Because it's saying it's crashing on this line, and this line is line 25. So the call here is fine. So in fact, we're looking potentially in the wrong place if we were looking at the vertex data. The indices is partially written over the vertex data that could cause the read to go past the region. Potentially, for the avoidance of doubt, like, I'd much prefer using the debugger, but sometimes it is easier just to be like, Interesting one. Interesting. It's kind of fun doing this live because otherwise I'll just be sitting by myself, bashing my head against this. At least I've got people to keep me company, which is nice. Oh, so it's the... Okay, maybe I'm just being stupid. So is writing the vertex data it doesn't like then? Maybe I just don't know how to read assembly. But also, and someone can verify this for me, DE1497, right? DE159F. Sorry, 2E. 2E1497. 2E159F. 2E159F. Okay? Why is this tiny file, which is one of the shaders... I don't want to go on a wild goose chase here. Is this just after this between these two? One 2E159. Oh no, I'm getting confused. Sorry, this is the final address, isn't it? 2E159F. Yeah, it is closer to that. I think that's red herring. Red herring. Yeah, it's just after, which makes sense. It'll probably load it into the following. It will load it into the following page. Anyway, I just want to just clarify that. Sometimes it's the weird things that catch you out. Okay, right. So let's have a look at the reader. When we advance, the iterator, I'm trying to remember how this works now. We do this dodgy operator star here, which just calls this, because remember, as we discussed last time, operator overloading is just functions to get the iterator value type, which I believe is the iterator, which is I believe is a TLV entry. Let me just check that. It's a TLV entry, so this gets a copy of the TLV entry. Okay. And this will ensure that when you get that, the size of the buffer is greater than at least the size of the type and size of the length. Right, so we'll check it's at least 8 bytes. It will copy out the type, copy out the length. I think here we need another ensure. I think we need to be like ensure buffer dot size. Because remember, buffer gets smaller every time you run it. The iterator itself maintains a span over the data, which is constantly shrinking as you iterate through it, because it's just a forward iterator, so we don't have to worry about going backwards. So this should check that the buffer.size is greater or equal to, because we haven't shrunk it yet, so the size of the TLV type plus the size of std uint32t plus length. right? And then we should be like invalid length. Okay, I think that's right. So we check that the buffer, the remaining buffer that we are iterating through, right? So this sub buffer could be at any point through the whole thing, right? Is at least big enough to have a type and a length. And then we check it's at least big enough to have the type and the length number of bytes. And if that is true, we return a TLV entry over the sub span of type, size of type and size of length bytes, which effectively all right? I mean, everything, all the other iterating stuff is right. I'd be very surprised if this is wrong. And there is the offset. Oh, because you give it the type, yes. So you say, here's the type, and then this value is the data, which must be past this like TLV header, which is the type and the length. Okay. We happy? I mean, we're not happy, but we are. Yeah, so it's not that, but it's a good check to have. Yes, it's a bit of a pain, this bug. Let's just check all this works, right? Let's just go through. So we construct the mesh. We get our mesh data, which should just contain 2 spans. Okay, so nothing owning. We construct the VBO. We know that the VBO must be at least the right size because that would give us an actual OpenGL error, I think, right? Or probably at least in the debug layer. We say we're going to want vertex size bytes, indices size bytes. It's not over 4 gigs, so we don't have to worry about that. Excuse me. Oh. And then we go for the buffer writer on the VBO. We go write the vertices, and then we're going to go write the indices. And then the write, it says write. Oh, I used it as bytes here. That's fine. Data, which we're passing in a byte anyway, so that's fine. And the current offset into the buffer. We take into account the offset when doing our calculations. Oh, the offset is 0 because we could have checked that we were writing the vertex data because the offset is 0 because it's the first thing we're going to write. So that's fine. And then we go definitely non-simd mem copy, but that's fine. And then we go gl name buffer subdata into the buffer. And at that offset, I'm definitely calling this right, aren't I? GL named buffer subdata. Yeah. GL named buffer subdata redefines some or all of the data stored for the specified buffer object, data starting at byte after offset, and extending for size bytes is copied to the data store from the memory pointed to by data. Offset and size must define a range lying entirely within the buffer object's data store, which we think this is not the case. Because data plus size. It's just really struggling to figure out. This is so weird. This is so strange, right? This is really bizarre. And I got myself a bit worked up at the beginning because I thought it was an alignment issue. So, so 26DC8AB, 26DC8, so FB. This is definitely beyond. Why is it extending beyond that? Can we check the resource packer program just in case it wrote the file wrong in some stupid way? I don't know how you would check it because it prints out at the end how many bytes it wrote. Wrote 2769648871, and then we've got 2769648871. So it's definitely writing the right number of bytes. What's the next? Someone just subscribed with Prime. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Has a B. Yeah, I think that might be the next play, is to run the packer, print out everything it does, and then print out in the reader, print out everything it does, and verify that those are sane. Although, yeah. Let's go TLV writer. Let's put some logging in here, right? So we're going to be like log game log debug writing entry okay, so this will be the type, the length, and then the value dot size bytes. I know I've got an extra one, I will remove it. Right, so this should be everything it writes out. It'll be like, here's what I'm writing. So that's probably a good start. Yes, I'm also curious why this worked before but suddenly stopped working. It kind of suggests that the only other thing I can think of, right, is that we've given it a bad object file, and that is somehow like corrupting it. So where do we do? So we go through all the meshes, right? I would just like we've got debug logging on in async. I would expect that to crash if it was reading bad data. Do you know what I mean? And I'm getting the name of it as well. You're right. So I'd expect that to potentially be corrupted. I don't know. There's lots going right. Let me just. Let's just build this and run this with the logging, because I'm kind of curious to see what it's printing out. Because it's definitely it's iterating through this scene, right? And I can't see unless like where do we push back the vertices, indices, positions, right? I guess we. This is wrong. Again, it's just a pointer, right? Why would this be wrong? Because positions then goes into the zip, which then comes into a vector. So this is all copied. I mean, it's forwarded into here, but you'll get we'll copy it all into a vector at the end. And besides, even if there was a lifetime issue, this is all within the scope of the mesh. Bro. What have I done wrong? Do I have a... Oh, I do not have a formatter for this. That's exciting. I should probably add one. Let's just add one because I'm going to regret not doing it. Honestly thought I had one. So for the game, TLB entry, and this will be a TLB entry. Whoop, nope. TLB entry, and then we'll do switch obj. Hey, where do we? Using enum game TLB entry. Pretty sure that's right. Yeah. And then case, let's just, can't wait for reflection, and then we can just do all this manually. So we can just do this automatically. QA, the F space, the CEO, undo, yank E into the end, in the paste, Q, and then I just realized what I've done wrong, but it's fine. We'll so what we're going to want out of here is Auto str equals unknown C, and then QA if the str equals that, enter that SV that JQ. Okay, and then str TLV because it's TLV entry type, isn't it? Sorry, I will look back at the chat in a second. I can see this is all kind of going off. Yeah, TLV entry type. Yeah. TLV type. Sorry, I appreciate you were all probably shouting at the screen then, saying, "What is he doing?" Okay. Okay, I think we're there. Let's catch what everyone's been saying. Okay. I enjoy the keyboard sound, so unfortunately you can't please everyone. If you don't like it, I do apologise. There's not much more I can say about that. Okay, right, now this should build now that it has a valid formatter. I am, for better or worse, using the Wine MSVC port. No, I've not figured it out. If anything, I'm worse off than when I started. Oh, I don't know. Oh. Classic. Absolute. What a schoolboy error that was. For some reason I thought I was returning something, and then I was like, oh, I don't need to break. I mean, it's just, I think for what ASIMP is, it's not bad. You know what I mean? My entire terminal is locked up. If you don't like the clicking noise, then you're really not going to like this bit. So I don't know when you left off, but we figured out we are reading past, for some reason we're reading past the end of the mapped in region. So it's potentially not an alignment issue. It is for some reason, it's an out of bounds issue. The last entry is overwriting the vertex data with indices. I'm not convinced. Control Z doesn't work. Control C doesn't work. Just kill that pane. We'll try again. CD build. Maybe it is Sigil. I can't remember. I've definitely hit this problem before where, I mean, like, I've tried to do something with unaligned instructions with SIMD and it exploded. But I can't remember what the signal it raised. I could look it up, but we've also verified that we are indeed reading out of bounds. So there's that problem to solve as well. Maybe that's the root cause of all this. So we're just kind of verify. At the moment, we're just kind of verifying what we're doing. I'm not a big fan of the. I will admit, I'm not a big fan of the async API. Like, I think people are free to criticize it as much as they like and don't like it, etc., etc. I think there could be more modern ways of doing it. It's a lot of sort of pointers and then arrays and stuff like that. But yeah, it is what it is. Okay, so we've got our ridiculously named initial shading group metal barrel of mesh 025, okay, which I assume is 40 characters. And then it's going to write to the vertex array data, which is this many bytes. Then we're going to write the uint32 array, which is this many bytes. It's then going to write out the mesh data, which again is these three packed together, because it writes these three first, then this, and that is presumably the sum of those plus a bit of padding, plus like the header and the type and the length. There's no table or header in the file format. It's everything is just basically how big each individual entry is. Then you can use that to get to the start of the next one. This is really perplexing me, this. And I feel like I keep going back and forth between the reader and the writer and not fully understanding either. Some of those is 140040, so header should be 14. No, because you have to remember each of these also has an 8-byte header, so you need to add another 8, 16, 24 to that. So each of these sizes for this entry is 8 plus this. So yeah, I think that's right then, 8, 16, 24. So this should write. Yeah, it's true. I'm just like, what I'm trying to just double check is I'm not accidentally clobbering something and overwriting something and then bleeding into like the length to make it massive. Because like the code's all pretty like, the code's pretty simple, like kind of by design. I guess what we could also do is, let's go back to mesh, right? We've got some log here. Let's also do like log debug vi, right? And let's do data.vertices.size, data.indices.size. Now that's interesting. It thinks the number of vertices is 12,000, is 123,200, which one seems like awful lot of vertices for a barrel, but also it thinks the number of bytes we wrote is that. So there's an inconsistency here between the number of elements and the number of bytes. Okay, right, I think I've asked for the vertices in size, right, not size bytes, in size, and it said there's as many vertices as there are bytes that you wrote. So, no, I think I know what the problem is. When we construct the span of the vertex data, we get the size of the value, which is the number of bytes. This needs to be divided by the size of the vertex data. Right? What we're doing here is we're saying we're basically saying, oh, the number of vertices there are is the number of bytes you wrote. And the same here as well. Yeah, span takes the element count. I suspect it. I think it might be slightly like the error. I don't think the error is me misunderstanding the constructor. I think the error is actually worse than that, and I was just copy and pasted from something that's byte size. Oh no, because look here, because where else do we return a span, or do we not? Anyway, I think that's going to be at least part of the issue. Oh, exciting, exciting. An hour and 40 in, and we might have found the bug. Now we die in buffer 32. Which is ensuring that the size bytes. Why does it now think that that is too small? This is better, right? There's only 2,800 vertices and 4,200 indices. And is that still quite a lot for a barrel? Like, I don't know, someone out there who actually does game dev, is 2,800 vertices a lot for a barrel? I suppose I could open it up and check. Yeah, okay, it's probably not an optimized mesh for games, right? But it's definitely within the. It's definitely better than whatever we had before, which was like 123,000. Can we see a wireframe? Maybe in a minute. I'll open up in May will probably actually tell you the vertex count anyway. Unless I've got a load of. Because don't you remember the absolute horror we did where we just, I say we, as like, you know, you're all guilty by association. We deleted all the extra faces we didn't want. Maybe I left some shit knocking around. Okay, so that seems more sensible. So now, (2254038). So this, so 2254038, 2254037. So this is ending right within here, which is good. So it's basically saying so now it doesn't like the index data, right? So the index data is 2254038, 2254038, 2607. So this is ending exactly on the end of this. So does that mean the size plus is greater than the size of bytes plus offset? So which ones are those? So size and bytes offset. So this plus So what I'm saying is the size of the buffer that I requested needs to be greater than the amount of data I'm writing plus the offset I want to write it at, because buffer itself doesn't maintain any state around offset. It basically says, here's some bytes, write it at this offset, and this just internally checks that you're not going to write beyond what you've asked for. But this here is saying it wants to write to this offset, which is the number of bytes from the previous, right? Cool, so that's correct. It wants to write this. But those equal. Am I to believe that this should actually be this? Oh, ah. Ah. It's still not perfect, but the imperfection is my shite model. It's been a while since we've seen this, but look at that. It's pretty much lined up on the origin. Isn't that exciting? Oh well, apologies, Moose, if I missed it. There's been quite a lot of chat, and there's been a lot of good suggestions and a lot of suggestions, so apologies if I missed it. But that was the cherry on the top of the crap pile we had to fix today. Right, okay. What a faff that was. Well, I hope we all learned something. I'm not sure I did, but so what was the issue exactly? So there was the root issue was we were reading our data from the binary blob that we create, but we are using lots of spans in C++ because that allows us to create non-owning views over data, which means we don't have to copy data around, and with the kind of assumption in all this system that the core data will hang around long enough until we don't need it anymore. When we were constructing a span over the vertex data array, we were saying you give it a pointer to the data you want and then the number of elements, okay, a number of these in there, and we were using the size of the buffer as the count. So we were saying, right, these objects might be 10 bytes each and we have 100 of them. If these objects are 10 bytes each and we have 10 of them, we should be passing in here 10, the number of objects. What we're actually doing was passing in 100, the number of bytes representing all those objects. So it was because C++ is somewhat allergic to memory safety. There was nothing. C++ was like, cool, mate. I'm not going to check that for you. You've clearly got 100 of these in here, all of size 10. So the actual size of this was then 1,000. Hopefully that makes sense. I don't know what the spam on the console is. I was literally just going to look at that. Oh, I'm going to tidy up all that now. We've got a load of extraneous log stuff. So I think I'm going to tidy that up, comment this up. Yes. On a scale of 1 to 10, Rust wouldn't save you. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's just I was kind of being a bit glib. Like, the computer did exactly what I told it to do, right? I said, can you please give me a span over this data from this point for this many elements? And I just gave it the wrong number of elements. I don't think anything could have saved me, really. I'll just hit a follower goal. That's exciting. Thank you very much. Yeah, I need to have a look at getting ASAN set up on this because it's a bit of a shame that we don't have it. Like, it's kind of, I'm hoping it's useful for people to kind of go through these debugging measures anyway, but and how I sort of solve these problems, because that was kind of that was fun for me. I don't know if it's fun for you, but I thoroughly enjoyed that. But the tooling, I could be better with the tooling, and maybe we could have got to that a bit quicker. tests would have helped as well. We should have had a mesh data test, which I've not written yet. I want to write that at some point before this is one of the other reasons why I don't want to open source it yet, because I want to spend some time improving the tests. I think let's tidy some of this up, and then to be honest, I think it's probably I think we might spend the rest of the stream just doing some tidying up, some cleaning up and stuff. I think that might be a good use of our time, ready for next stream where we're going to... The next thing is to do quaternions, and I don't think I've got the mental capacity to add a quat at the moment. So I think we could maybe improve some of the tests, tidy up some of the stuff. There's some examples of like where we should be using as bytes and stuff like that. So let's have a look at that. So where's all my logging misery? So in file, and we obviously just chat and chill out for the last little bit. Main's a mess. I don't want to look at main at all. So that's the bug fixed. That is debug shit I don't want. That I do want. That is another check. That is logging shite I don't want. Right, I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I think a stream spent screaming into the abyss is a stream well spent, cathartic. But I think I'm hoping this might encourage me to try and get some better tooling, because I'm a big proponent of like making your life easier with tooling, but I'm definitely not practicing what I preach. So we should we'll have a look at that. Right, okay, where are we with all this stuff? So okay, I need to get rid of this, like my attempt at my own mem copy. Like, what a fever dream that was. I think it was in buffer, wasn't it? So we should now be able to go back to data.data. I'd be interested to see if this actually still works, and if we hadn't just masked up the alignment issue. Yeah, I think we got some. Might go through and just type all the logging. Okay, this seems to work, so that's pretty cool. I've still got mesh and material. Mesh. Oh yeah. And main, I think, has got some. Main's got it. What is all this? What is fever dream? I guess I don't want this anymore. What was all this? It's gone. That's what it is. It's dead to me. I need to pack all these into the TLV as well at some point. Want that. I think I got rid of the one at the top. I guess don't need that. Okay. Let's check it builds. Yeah, it's you're having a bad time when the print statements are what's keeping your code together. I find it's funny when when the print statement is masking a timing issue, because the slight I/O delay in printing something to the console makes it work. Equivalent of like sleep 100 ms. That's one of my favorites. That certainly had that before. Okay, let's go through this. So buffer. Nope, I don't know what that's doing. So what's doing? I don't want that. Fine. Where's the actual bug we fixed? That was here. So fix span size bug in reading mesh data. And then this is like commit. Nope. Commit add bounds check to TLV iterator main. So what else have we got? Don't want this. Don't want this. Main is so we can probably commit up. So what's buffer doing? This is just like commit clean up debug code, and the main is nope. Integrate changes, and then discard that. Discard that. I want only you. So what's that? Commit formatter for TLV entry. I'll leave that in because I don't know what it's doing. Discard that. No, cancel. Discard that. Discard that. Okay, right. I just commit this straight to master, then I push up. It's only me working on this. Or main, sorry. Okay, right. So what do we want to do for like another, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes? There's a couple of what's on my laundry list of misery. Asset pipeline, put that to done. Job physics, nearly in done. Tidy up logs. I think we've pretty much tidied up the logs now. Could go and fix the camera rotation issue. That's a good point. Yeah. I don't know if that might be easier with quaternions. We could go and have a look. Type logs that can be done. Bounds check in the buffer writer. I already knew that. Single track render shadows. Okay, fine. So yeah, what's the issue with the camera? Can we get a rough idea of what we want with this? I need to move all the files around as well because I really don't like them all being in the one place, but that's just quite a big change. Yeah, I'm going to save moving the barrel till we do quaternion so we can actually see it rotate. I think that's what I want to do. So things that need doing are tests need improving. The fragment, the shaders need to be put into the TLV pack. The TLV pack needs compressing. I don't know. Yeah, the camera's rotating. I'm just going to have a quick look at that, I think, because I don't think that's going to be too bad. Where is the camera? So the camera starts off... minus... So I want... what I want... is the camera to start off like that, I think. I want to be looking down the x-axis, slightly elevated. I think that's the look at, and that's the up. Yeah. And then where does the barrel come in? The barrel should come in at 0, 0. Right. So in fact, if I add 10.0f to that, then we should be looking down the x. If everything is correct, we look down the x-axis, and the barrel should come slightly down to the right. So after quaternion transform physics, what's next? Next is to start having a play around with the game. Yeah, this doesn't already maybe doesn't look right. I think I should have been looking here-ish. So yeah, after we basically, so roadmap, as it were, after we get the physics and barrels things all kind of tidied up and can move around, we then need to a character controller. After that, I think we're going to start adding some sort of basic gameplay elements. I've got some ideas of some stuff I want to play around with, and we'll just see where we go from there. So I think the simple solution to this is that pitch. No, wait a minute. Roll. Pitch. Yaw. Yaw just needs to be minus pi over 2. Third. I think. Oh my goodness, we're not ready for full screen yet. Okay, I think that's right, and that's slightly on the positive x-axis. Okay, that was nice and easy. Yeah, I know I'm going to say, please let me. Oh. Don't know why I'm having such a bad time with this. Could you just uncommit these, please? Or unstage them, sorry. Right. Watch as man fails to use Git for 15 minutes straight. Right, okay, so commit, fix, starting camera angle. I don't think what else might be a good kind of quick-ish win to do for another 20 minutes. I could start moving the files around, but it's just a massive pain. I don't really have much less. I could calculate normal matrix on the CPU, but again, maybe it's just perfect where it is. I could start documenting it up. That is a good point. Let's move the files. I think that's what. Let's just see what we've got first. So tree. Yeah, all this is. So I think we can have. Oh my God, Christ. Okay, fine. So I think we can definitely have like physics, graphics, TLV, and I don't know, like core for like the windowing and the maths and stuff. I think that's probably good enough to kind of get started with. Events. This isn't going to be. Yeah, okay, fine. Let's just start. So I think what we probably want is a clean working tree. Did this not commit? Glad I checked that. Fix. Starting camera angle. A horrible feeling that's committed this warehouse pack. Oh, for fuck's sake. Let's just reset that. Mix reset. Sorry, mix reset to there. Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Camera. Right. Okay, let's try it again. Camera. Fix. Starting camera angle. Quick 20 minutes. Quick welcome back end. There's fundamentally no difference between the file extension used for header files, right? Because your compiler doesn't care. CMake has some opinion on it, as in like it will search certain extensions, HXX, HPP, etc., etc. Some people use it to differentiate between, correct, C headers and CP headers. I think the core guideline says prefer .h. I know Google uses .h except for header only libraries, which are HPP. I don't think it matters, so therefore I don't really care. As long as you're consistent. The main thing is be consistent. I don't think I need any of these. I'm just going to pretty boldly remove those. And just check that still builds. If it builds, it must therefore run. Okay, right. Let's go mukta source. What have we got? What's a good starting one? I'm in quite a few files. What's the clog source? We're at 4,200 lines of code, which actually I think for what we've got and for only 4,000 lines of code is pretty good, I'd say. Yeah, I'm gonna tuck my headers away. No one's ever gonna find them. All right, let's just start somewhere. Let's start with graphics because that's probably one of the first things we did. So mukta source graphics. Have I got midnight? Okay, I don't have that installed. That's fine. We'll do it the hard way. So let's do ls source again. Right. So move source cube map star to source graphics. Move source material star to source graphics move source. What we got? What else is good? What else can you see is good? Mesh star to source graphics move frame buffer source frame buffer star to source. We can collaborate. We can do this collaboratively. Textures, good shout. Shader. To source graphics. Okay. Sampler. Yep. Vertex data. Nice. Move source sampler star to source graphics. Move source. What else do we see? Vertex data to source graphics. Move source. Just watching as all my viewers drop off as they realise they don't want to watch file organizer. Now that's what I call file organization. Graphics. OpenGL. Yep. Move source OpenGL to source graphics. Right. ls al source. Right. What else have we got? So utils, physics, buffer writer, game, I guess, camera, color, core. I think I'm probably just gonna have a core and just shove everything in there. Physics, debug UI, maybe graphics, entity, core, error, core, event, exception, core, file, core, physics, events, logging, events, core, physics, core, physics, TLV. So what did I say was in there? Buffer. Copy source buffer star to source graphics. I think he might have been joking. Yeah, no worries. I'm glad it could help. Okay, this will 100% not build, which is exciting. So FG. Hello, computer. Right. What do I create a separate CMake folder for all of them and then add subdirectory, which all it's going to do is just add them to this target, or do I just keep them all here? I think the correct way is probably to create a sub CMake folder, right? And then, like, is it target, like add files to target? Target sources, right? So E source graphics CMake lists dot text, and then target sources game lib public, whatever these are, like buff.cpp, CMake. Right, I need to find all the ones here. What I'll do is just bring them all over, and then we'll just delete the ones we don't want. So don't want box, don't want camera, do want cube map, don't want center of the shape, don't want debug lines, Debug renderer, I'm going to say, is actually physics. Debug UI, I can't remember if I moved that one or not. Entity exception file, want the frame buffer, don't want that, don't want that, want that, want that, want that, don't want that, want that, want that, want that. Did we move the renderer? Question mark. Sampler, shader, shape, sphere shape, texture, window. And then again, we can now go through and remove these, so we don't need cube map, cylinder shape, frame buffer, material mesh loader, renderer, sampler shader, texture, and then we just do add subdirectory graphics. This actually means if we ever wanted to do some specific stuff to including certain files on certain platforms or whatever, we can just kind of keep that all in this CMake file. I can't remember if I moved the renderer. I did not. Graphics. Okay, this won't blend, which is exciting because now all didn't want that. All the header files are now in the wrong place, which is exciting. Cylinder shape will be part of physics. It's like, yeah, using an Electron app, it's like shoveling coal into a furnace. Does it work now? It does work now. So now we're just taking a bit of time to sort our lives out a bit, rearrange some of our files, kind of get some feng shui going on in our build system. I've removed cylinder shape from both of them. Fine, thank you. You're right, I did. Cylinder shape RCP. Blah, blah, blah. Why is it not finding stuff like auto release, which is now in the root? Obviously, this must be from a sub file, right? So graphics sampler. So why? Sampler should see the root. Target include directories. Something like that. Yeah, okay, now it's not finding. Oh, that's why I had it for the third party. Okay, fine, apparently I need both. I'm not convinced this is correct CMake, but it certainly is CMake. I'm surprised so many people are still hanging around. Thank you very much. Everyone's hoping I'm going to give out 5 more YouTube monthly memberships at the end, which I may or may not have to give out. It's impossible to say. Okay, I want to keep everything fully qualified, so I want to make sure that anything in graphics you have to go via the graphics for. So this is just going to be an absolute nightmare. So let's just start at the top. Buffer. I literally don't know what's going on my keyboard, so this should be graphics / OpenGL. What if I think what I need to do is get up the graphics CMake file and go through each of these and their corresponding header files. So cube map. A lot. Alright, and then cube map, so that's going to be OpenGL. I don't know why this is not remembering my dot command. Okay, and then frame buffer. Graphics, frame buffer, graphics. Is that going to have to also be qualified? Which means I've probably missed up all the others as well, but we're going to do. I mean, the point of the include file is so you can ship the headers separately to the source file, right? So if you want to just give someone a library and the header files, that's normally the point of having a separate include. I'm not planning on shipping a library, so I'm not bothering with giving them in separate places. Might just do the graphics one tonight, and then we'll see. Maybe I'll do the rest because maybe I'll do the rest off stream. I don't know. We'll see. So what's it complaining about now? TLV writer can't have mesh data. Okay. So that is indeed in graphics, TLV writer implementation, graphics. Yeah, I do wonder if it would be worth doing a mass find and replace. What do I want? Sed awk? What do I want? I do wonder if I can. I do feel like this is eminently automatable by the computer. No, I'm going to copy and paste the command that ChatGPT sent me and hope for the best. Grep rl hash include buffer.h into source, and then pipe that to xargs sed -i s/ hash include buffer.h to hash include graphics / buffer.h. G. It's fine. Like, this is a place for people to blow off steam and shitpost a bit. I don't mind as long as it doesn't get out of control. I'm going to totally, I mean, I run anything once, right? So hash include buffer to hash include graphics buffer. Oh, typo. And then option 2S. I don't. ChatGPT, how could you possibly fail me? Does it not like the quotes? I've got the closing there, isn't it? Got 1, 2, 3, 4. Char 45, and then option to S. Sure. Okay, fine. Well, include the. Oh, hang on. I've obviously need -0. He says -0. Won't xargs put the file name on the end anyway by default? I'm not saying I need to use VS Code, but if I were, I don't even know what state my VS Code's in. It's been so long since I've used it. Uh-oh. Open folder. Ubuntu, home, me, projects, game, that folder. Yes, I trust the author. Scan for kits. No, I don't want any of that. Right. Hash include buffer.h with graphics buffer.h. Sure. Okay, so what else do we have? QMap. Wow, that's much easier. Like, I know there's a certain level of glibness in, I get it, and I use VS Code for years. I think it's pretty good, but like there is something absurd about the amount of like memory this takes up to do a simple find and replace, because I couldn't get my grep xargs sed command to work. Like I do think that is quite amusing to me. How's it going out there? Everyone's still here? Right, nailed it. Let's move this out of the way. I replaced mesh loader with I did. Oh, I've got mesh loader. Replace. There's also like there's the header only ones as well, so we'll just do those first. And then OpenGL. Oh, loads of these buggers. And then it's gone. It's had enough. It ran out of memory. And then was it mesh with or just a single mesh? Oh, whoa, cool. Be careful of the resource packer there. Mesh loader. Oh, what is this? I'll get it right in a minute. So I've now lost all my code. Where's it bloody gone? Right, okay. So the mesh loader.h. Right. Give that a go. Right, getting there. Mesh data, of course, mesh data. Can I look at my previous ones? I can. Exciting. Look at that. There's nothing this tool can't do. Right. I'm really worried it's put a new line in. Like it's put in the wrong new line. Like what is this? Or have I got an include blank somewhere? What should it? Oh yeah. Oh my goodness, what should it have been? Oh, I mean, perfect. Nailed it, absolutely crushed it. How many of those are knocking around? What is this? What have I fat fingered in? I've actually made this worse. So how is that? Oh God. You can tell I'm getting tired because this is going from bad to worse. Right. I did commit before the cleanup started. Yeah, so if the worst comes to the worst, I can throw it in the bin. Getting there. Still got this in TLV writer. I'm worried people are going to realise that I don't actually know what I'm doing. I'm just largely making this up as I go along. Oh, what is C++? Oh, good. Now I've got a link error. That's exciting. Hey, what? Yeah, possibly. Okay, fine. Let's. We can do stb image. So unlikely to be this because they only are in CPP files, so they will be limited to a single translation unit. So I don't think it's that, unless texture CPP is somehow included in. What we're building is the resource packer, so potentially that. So does the resource packer, it does link in texture, right? So it could be because of that. So I wonder if I just. Oh, that problem sure went away. Now it doesn't like. So this looks to me like it's missing, and again, I don't know why this wasn't an issue before, but if we go to, no, don't do that, absolutely, don't do that. I think we want this in here, the old inline linker Windows extension. Got it. I know, but I know. Maybe later. Maybe we'll do that as part of this. Maybe we'll go and link it in. So, curious about C++. Been trying a bit of Python. Do you think it's needed to have a specific amount of programming experience before getting to C++? And how did I get into C++? It's kind of a really big question. Like, I don't think there is any sort of. We just wait for me barrel to. What? I thought I fixed the camera. Did I forget to commit it again? So anyway, to answer your question before I dive into this, C++ is quite a daunting language. I think there's just a lot. There's a lot to it. There's a lot of bear traps and pitfalls and kind of things that you can kind of get wound up about. But at the end of the day, it's just code. Code can be read and understood, and like you don't have to go super into the weeds of it. If you want to learn it, just like the best way to learn any language is just to write lots of code. Just start reading tutorials, writing C++, kind of iteratively go through it, take time to reflect, write a small project, take it, come back the next day and go like, oh, what did I like? What didn't I like? What was difficult? What did I not understand? What did I have to Google? What did I have to chat GPT? And then throw it away and start again and use all the lessons you learned just to kind of get better at it. I think it's hard without someone there to kind of point you in the right direction, but it's definitely doable. I did a bit of university, and then I got started in when I got my first graduate role. It was all in C++, so I just sort of spent years doing it, and I'm still figuring it out as I go along. If if you know what an if statement is in a class, then that you can kind of sidestep that and get into some of the more interesting stuff like the standard library, some of the weird sort of nuances of C++ around like copying and moving. I think if you want to learn it and you've got time, then there's loads of resources out there. I do agree. I do have a fair amount of sympathy for those starting C++ journey now, because there is so much to learn, and it's very hard I think it'd be very hard to distinguish what was good advice maybe like 2 years ago and what is good advice now. I would try to avoid any like YouTube videos or resources that are kind of older than a year or two, just to kind of keep up with the latest stuff. Yes, bear traps like the size versus size of thing, very much so. Oh, I didn't save the initial starting pos. You're right. Thank you. I'll update that in a second. Okay. So all the graphic stuff is new. I think I want everything in source. And in the tests, and in the resource packer. I don't want that. So move graphics to separate. Okay, and then CMake. So CMake. Let's do target link libraries. OpenGL 32. Is that enough for it to work? I can't be able to faff around with find package and all that sort of stuff. It's all right tools for the right job, right? So also, but part of the question you should be asking yourself is like, what kind of problems do you want to solve? Like big data and analytics and stuff. Python is absolutely brilliant for that. Anything kind of like low level, latency sensitive. C++ is obviously a good candidate. There's other ones as well. There's Zig, there's Odin, there's Rust. There's like, we're kind of sport for choice of languages at the moment, which is nice. I don't know what a conventional commit message is. Like, everywhere I've worked has done it differently. Okay, that was easy. Don't talk about Internet of Things. I bodged home automation. I can talk for hours about my bodged home automation systems. Was setting up a Zigbee relay or a Zigbee hub, and I came across the rare set of conditions where there was a bug in the Debian Docker image I needed, and the specific hardware was out of date, so I had to patch the kernel and then flash new firmware. So that was an evening gone. Yeah, I mean, I segregate all mine onto separate VLAN, so it can have a separate botnet to itself on a different part of my network. LG. That was, what do we do? We were like, properly link in OpenGL. There you go. We happy? I don't think I wouldn't say you have to forget things about Python and C++. Like the fundamentals are still the same, right? Like your basic constructs, your if statements, your classes and stuff. There is a Pythonic way of doing things, and then there are 1,000 ways of doing something in C++. So I think certain idioms and paradigms that you might have learnt won't necessarily translate well to C++. But I think to say you kind of forget about everything in Python is kind of doing a bit of a disservice to what you've learnt. I think, yeah. So ittools is similar to range adapters, but I would argue that the errors you get out of range adapters is infinitely worse than whatever you get out of ittools, which will probably just throw you a nice exception. I think about this a lot. I do actually think that if you want to learn more about like low level like systems programming, right, C actually might be a better first port of call because the language is very simple. It's pretty powerful. It'll give you used to pointers. It'll get you used to interfacing with system APIs. It'll get used to dynamic like manual memory management without all the chuff that C++ brings. And then you can kind of progress on to C++. I wouldn't, personally for me, I would not pick to do a large scale project in C, but I think actually as a kind of a gateway onto that without getting bogged down in like, oh, like, do I want a vector or a deck, or do I want like, you know, this or that, and what about all these 1,000 algorithms and templates? Like actually to get used to low level systems programming, I think like C is a good kind of gateway. What was I doing? I was going to fix the camera, wasn't I? Again, well, fix the starting position. So this should be 0, 0, and this should be 50. If you want a good project, ray tracing in a weekend is an excellent project to go through. It gives you something visual, something you can actually see and play around with. It'll get you used to writing loads of C++. Like ray tracing is my go-to project for learning a new language. Update default pos. It's also a lot of fun indeed. Yes, one of the best projects I did at university was write a ray tracer, and I've had several goes since then. I think if you're the point in your like development journey where you're kind of learning systems languages, I wouldn't say the question of should we be worried about Rust or C++, I don't think is that probably pertinent to you at the moment. I would just pick one and learn it and then see what you think, and then go to the other and then learn it and then see what you think and form your own opinion, right? You know, that's I wouldn't stress too much about it. Like C++ is not going anywhere. I think it'll be, unless the language rapidly changes, I think it will become increasingly harder to justify doing brand new projects in C++. But I think there's more than enough C++ to keep everyone busy for like decades to come. So it's definitely, as a language, it's not going anywhere, and there's a huge amount of code that needs to be written and maintained and improved upon and optimized. So I just don't think like the advent of a new language is suddenly going to make all the C++ work disappear. That's kind of my view of it, so I wouldn't stress too much about it. No, I'm using a pre-made physics engine just because like that would take many streams. I've started writing. I've said this a lot before. I've started writing a physics engine before, and the amount of time it took me to just get two boxes to correctly collide and resolve was absurd, and we would just be nowhere near getting anything done with that. So I did have to make some concession there. I think template metaprogramming is useful in C++ just because it kind of can help you understand the like the complex errors you get. So I think it's another tool in your tool belt, right? It's another aspect to the language you can leverage. It starts looking a lot like Haskell after a while, like some of the template metaprogramming stuff, or functional programming, like when you're programming in the type system. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reflection. Right. Just thinking, it's getting quite late for me now, and I do have to get up quite early. So I think it's a bit of a shame to kind of leave this refactor half done. But I think, given the time that took to do that, I do think it's going to take quite. It could easily take another 30 or so minutes to do all these. It seems a shame to leave it in a half-baked state, but at the same time, like, I don't know how much more I can do. Okay, I might do some of those off stream actually. I think because it's really just busy work really. I wouldn't say it's particularly doing anything particularly outrageous. We can always finish it off again next stream. So Sunday will be the last stream before I take a couple of weeks off. So this Sunday we are gonna try and basically get in the last sort of working bits of the physics engine. So that will be rotations into the graphics engine. So we will definitely need to write a quaternion class and not patch that, and sort of mirror that with the jolts equivalent. So that's going to be good fun. And then we will Christ. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm off on a massive bender to Lanzarote. And then, yeah, we'll get it so that stuff slides around. We'll either tilt the floor at an angle so stuff rolls down, or we'll just start stuff off at a random angle. It'd be nice just to get a pile of barrels that kind of move around. And then after that, we'll do a character controller. And then after that, we'll think about making a game. But we're still a few streams away from that. Cool. Okay, well, I'll actually hang on before everyone disappears, at least on YouTube. I think I have a gift. I do. There you go. Roll the dice, see what you get. Good luck. Well, we'll have to start next month when I get 5 more, which is exciting, or 10 more even. Obviously, like, if you feel left out, there is an option to pay for it, but obviously that's kind of up to you and whether that's something you're interested in doing. See you, Ferdinand. Thanks for coming along. Good chat as always. Thanks for your help and your input. Always hate YouTube. But yeah, so what I'm trying to do before I disappear, I'm desperately trying to get the next video out. I try and do 1 video a month, and February's video is recorded. I just need to edit it, which takes the most amount of time because I'm not an editor. I'm just kind of largely flailing around. If you saw me in Maya, you should see me in DaVinci. It's quite a sight. We can see if anyone's around on Twitch. I do like to do it around. So we've got like 30 people. I normally just click raid, click same category, and then just search for C++ and see if anyone's doing anything. Apparently there are some. What's the C++ tag? That's exciting. I didn't realise that. Don't think anyone is doing much C++. What's this geezer doing? He's got VS Code up, but he has no real instructions on what he's doing. And it all appears to be in French, so I don't think so. No, not today. I don't think there's anyone doing C++. Cool. Anyway, thanks so much for coming along. I've had a great time. What a roller coaster it's been today of weird bug fixes, file moving around, and a little bit tidy up, and good chat as well. Good chat about C++. Thanks very much. I will catch you all on Sunday. Have a good one.